We have comedian. There he is.
Here we are.
Excellent.
You hear me?
Excellent. Yes. How you doing, man?
What's up, brother? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. We're already rolling and recording.
Cool.
But I just want to welcome you. This is Patrick Dunn, a Long Island comedian, and now he is the administrator there for the Long Island
Ooh.
comedy scene Facebook page. That's pretty cool. How did you end up getting this responsibility now to maintain the Long Island comedy scene page?
Jeff Bosey, good guy. Known him a few years. He figured I'm the man for the job, so gave me the keys to the castle. And
Was there?
here we are.
There you go, man. This is great. This was there an interview process? Did he have to vet you? And how did it
Now,
how did it happen? Tell me how Bosey approached you and kind of asked you if you wanted to do this.
he just called me out of the blue. Said he's taking a retirement from comedy, quote unquote, and this was too much a responsibility for him. He needed somebody to take over the page. And he said, I call it down the middle. I don't really have any comedy feuds or anything. Have a good amount of friends in comedy. So he figured I'm the man for the job. And that's it.
And then he just handed you over. Here's everything. Here's how I do it. Here's the passwords.
Yep.
I'll pass over the administration duties to you now. Does he still have any access, or did you delete him out of all access?
He has access, and once I get full control, he's out of there. No more Jeff Bosey. That's my stance.
There you go. And what are you planning to do differently? Are you going to add any Patrick Dunn spice to it?
Try to keep it a friendly page. No bickering. It's really there to promote your shows, promote open mics, things like that. So we'll have fun, and then if you get out of line, I'll have Jeff call you. Do a good cop, bad cop.
It's hard when you maintain a page like that and you're dealing with all these personalities, especially comedians with the big egos. And there are a lot of little cliques within the scene, little subgroups and things like that. And don't always get along. And, you seem like a nice guy. Are you ready to weigh in heavy if you have to?
If I have to, I guess I will, but I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. Like I've been on the page for a year and a half as a participant, and in my short stint as admin, a lot of bickering going on. So hopefully we'll keep it nice and friendly.
Is it more than you anticipated? Like you were like, yeah, Jeff, because Jeff probably told you, he probably warned you, hey, I'm telling you, they're gonna do this and this, and you're like, yeah, all right, and then all of a sudden you're like, is it more than you anticipated, or about even or less?
First off, I have to give you credit. That's a great Jeff Bosey impression. You nailed that. So, no, he didn't really tell me anything because, if you're on the page, you can kind of just see what's there. But then when anybody's posting, I now get an alert. Yeah, so there's a lot more activity on this page than you'll see.
But, is there a lot of stuff you had to remove and things like
that? Yeah, a whole bunch. The other day I was driving to Foxwoods, so I had my phone off for like 3 hours, and then in this 3-hour span, started to be some arguments on the page. I had at least a dozen people message me to weigh in on this. I'm like, okay, thank you. Yeah, here's the open mic schedule, folks. I don't know.
This is a lot.
That'd be the extent of this.
Yeah, this isn't like you're not getting paid for this, right? This is a volunteer thing. Yeah.
Comes with no money, no gigs, nothing.
So what is the incentive for you to take over this page?
Really none. I thought I was doing Jeff a favor, and then he sold me a lemon. So here we are. So I think I have 30 days to trade the website back in, but we'll see.
I feel like he was carried around like a 200-pound weight for a couple of years, and then handed that weight over to you, and now he feels relief and now
Yep,
you are now carrying the burden of it.
that is I. He didn't give me anything. I didn't even get a complimentary fedora.
He
Nothing.
should have, man.
He
You
should
got
have.
it.
You would think the
He
man has a
should.
dozen of them. You
He
know.
should pass down a fedora to you for sure. It's the least he can do.
I agree. I
Because
agree.
now
He dropped.
yeah, because he's getting the peace of mind, and you're now getting all the emails and the alerts, and it's
Mhm.
24/7.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody calls me at like 3 or 4 in the morning on a weekday, then we'll have words. But
No, I think this is great that you took it over, man. You know, it's not an easy thing, but it's an important thing. You
Mhm.
pretty much like a lot of people depend on this page to get their updates on open mics, to see podcasts that are coming out. Like a lot of people, like myself, will post my latest podcast on there in hopes that people from Long Island scene would tune in and watch it. And so yeah, there's a lot of, it's mostly positive of what you're
Yeah.
doing, and maintaining it and updating it and finding out, you know, all the open mics and shows that are happening on Long Island. So kudos, man, and welcome. You know, I'm glad you're a part of it, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on this. It's an honor and privilege to host the page. But yeah, that's exactly what I want to keep doing. You know, for us Long Islanders, we know what shows are coming up, what the open mic schedule is, and then if somebody's visiting from out of town, they want to pop in an open mic, we have it here for you. So
It's perfect,
that's really
man.
what I want out of it.
How many people are on the page now? Like, how many subscribers?
A little over 1,000.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I would say most of the local comics probably are subscribed to that and follow it, and you know, you know, intermingle with it to some degree.
Yeah.
Um, so now,
Good.
how long have you been involved in comedy?
Little over 2 years I've been doing mics. So
And
that's fun.
what's yeah, where are you from? You're a Long Island guy, obviously.
Yeah. I'm from Massapequa. Now I live in Wantagh.
Okay,
So
cool. Yeah, I know Wanto. My dad lives out there. I kind of Levittown used to be like my stomping grounds. My cousin grew up there, so we used to always go Levittown and raise hell over in that area.
there you go.
Good times, man.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about your comedy career. So how did you segue into stand up, and what were you doing beforehand, and you know how'd you get into this crazy world?
I always had an interest in comedy. I've been a fan, my entire life, just watching stand-up clips. Norm Macdonald, huge influence on me. And then eventually some friends just started to do open mics. And then eventually I'd go out to watch them, support them, and then just started doing it. Oh, that was it.
That's what happened with me. I did comedy for stand up for like about a year and a half. I call it like a cup of coffee. I went up, I did stand up for, I started McGuire's back in like 1998. But
Wow.
when I started, it was kind of the same thing. I went to watch other people at open mics, and then you start having that feeling like I think I could do that. I think,
Yeah,
and then you do it, and then it gets addictive. The stage time,
definitely.
writing the jokes, just having a voice and a platform to say something, to say what you want, you know.
Yeah. I did my first show 3 years ago. My best friend James Raniolo, he's been on the Long Island comedy scene for over 5 years. He did a birthday show, and he's like, you always talk about doing it. Why don't you write out some jokes, and I'll give you some stage time? So he put me on 3 years ago. Didn't do terrible, so you'll take that for your first time. And then I figure, all right, I gotta keep coming back. And then COVID happened, so the second
Oh
time I
yeah.
did a mic, about like 8, 9 months later. But since
You
then,
you do any Zoom shows or get involved in any of that during the COVID downturn? Because so many people
yeah,
started right when COVID happened. Like you hear that story all the time, and then they either fell off completely, took it
mhm.
like as a sign from God, like all right, maybe, or they just stayed home and kind of wrote, anticipating the lockdown to end, and that they'll get back out with all this fresh material. Or some people even tried it out and did the Zoom stuff.
Yeah, I didn't do the Zoom stuff. When I started to really come around the open mic scene, it was like September, October 2020. So I think the Zoom shows were kind of ending about then.
Oh,
because
so
then we were.
you actually started everything during the lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't start in Zoom either.
No,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
does not seem enjoyable. But
Especially when you can't hear laughter, so that will break your spirit.
yeah, well, I'm used to that, and Jeff Bosey's been used to that forever. So
Uh, now, when you're working on material, like so you said like Norm Macdonald's one of your role models. Do
Mhm.
you follow his kind of path and his style, or like just take me
um,
through your joke writing process?
I try not to. My main thing is don't sound like Norm, don't sound like David Tell, and then I'll write out a joke and I'll say it. I'm like, okay, well, you sound exactly like Norm. So I'm new. I'm trying to, I'll find my own voice eventually. But
They say it takes like 5 to 6 years to really kind of cultivate your own voice, and then like another
yeah,
5 years after that to really have a whole style and vibe. So, yeah, like Jerry Seinfeld said, he looks at the time you put into stand up as kind of like your age. So,
hmm
like if you only have 2 years in, you're like a 2 year old.
yeah,
And if you got 17 years in, you're 17 year, but if once you start getting like 25, 30 years in, then you're a mature adult, and you know what I mean? So it makes sense when you think about it.
it really does. I mean, 2 years is very new, but I'll look back or listen to a show I was on my first 6 months, and then compared to now, I'm like, okay, slightly better, and then hopefully in a few years another increase. But yeah, it definitely takes time. Like you said you started like late 90s.
I started 98 and ended around 2000, 99, 2000. I forget exactly, but it was right
Hmm
around that time. I was, yeah, because I was doing a whole bunch of different things. And I had to decide, because you can't just half-ass stand-up comedy. You
Right,
have to
right.
put 100%, and you can't just go, oh shit, tomorrow the show's in an hour. All right, let me just, you have to like be ready,
Yeah.
practice and write and write new stuff and work on your timing and all that kind of stuff. And for me, in the beginning, I was giving 100%. But then what happened for me was, I think what happens to a lot of comics, and this is what separates comedians from everybody else, right? The real comics, is how to handle a devastating bomb,
Mhm.
So I went up on stage, devastating bomb story. I was awful, depleted me. I was never the same, and I never had the same confidence when I went back on stage after that.
Mhm.
And I guess I should have, if it was truly meant to be a comedian, I would have pushed through until I got my confidence back, my mojo back. But I
Gotcha.
did about 3 or 4 more shows after that. I was never the same. Um, and then just said, you know what, I'm just gonna, pursue writing more. So I was writing
Okay.
for magazines and stuff like that. So that was kind of my pathway. But sometimes I wonder, if I would have stayed in it, I would have been, I would have been, like I said, like according to Seinfeld's law, I would have been a mature adult on stage now. Who knows,
That is true. That's
where it
true.
would take me. But yeah, man, that's why I'm, for guys like you, coming up in the scene a couple years in,
Hmm
I always say don't make the mistake I made. If it's in your true heart, keep pushing through. Don't let a bad set take you out of it. Because I've had other fails in my life that I've pushed
hmm
through and
Good.
succeeded. So, but my stand-up story, not so much.
Gotcha. Yeah. Best thing for bombing. I bombed many times. I'm gonna bomb more times. But after that, you just gotta look at the next mic, look at the next show, and hopefully it goes better than the last one.
Yeah, man. Dude, if you
Really to do it.
any comic, even like Dave Chappelle, even
Hmm
whoever you think is the greatest comic of all time, Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald always bombs. He enjoyed it when he was,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
God bless him. He would love that awkwardness, but he thrived on
Mhm.
it. But everybody's bombed. Everybody has a bomb story. So
Yep.
it's almost, you got to take it with an ounce of pride, almost like it's like a rite of passage. Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah,
It's nice to be humbled every now and then. So you bomb, you're like, okay, it's time to start writing a little bit more or practice these a little bit more.
What's your main angle? What do you focus on mostly? Like some comics will talk mainly about their family or their kids. Other comics will talk about, um, the airport or whatever it might be, their
Mhm.
job. What's your what's your main premise?
Really, just like I'm a big like night owl. I like to go out to bars, so a lot of my jokes involve things that have happened while having a few. So it's really just stories like that. Uh, been in a relationship for a few years, so it's a lot of girlfriend jokes, and that's about it. I do a lot of self-deprecating humor where you kind of go up, make fun of yourself for 6 minutes, and then get off the stage.
What's your most self-depreciating joke?
Mm. Um, try to do a lot of like fat jokes, but try to make it clever, and hopefully it is because I mean, how many fat jokes have been told on a stage? Millions. So try
It's
to think
tough to
outside the
find.
box.
Yeah, it's tough to find an original, and that could be the challenge. And you could come out on top with that. The challenge is, how do I reinvent the fat joke, or how do I
Mhm.
reinvent the relationship joke?
Yeah.
Because they're always going to be there, and that's the thing too. A lot of comics that I think got to pull from their real lives, man, because
Right.
because that's where like if you sit down and try to write just a standard joke and you're not that seasoned or something, you might run into falling prey into kind of hackneyed stuff that's been done a million
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
But if you pull from your real life, dude, that really happened, or you're elaborating on it. I
Mhm.
think that's always the best way to go.
Yeah, that's what I try to. I mean, me, you could see right off the bat, gigantic red beard. But if all my jokes are about that, I don't really have an audience. There might be one other guy with a red beard. It's like, oh yeah, this guy gets me. But then the others are like, yeah.
But I
So,
think you should play off the beard a little. I don't know if you do it. I haven't yet to see your
so
set. I want to watch you live, but you
nice.
should say something, that because to me, I saw your pictures. I think we've actually been Facebook friends for a while,
Hmm.
and I see your picture every now and then comes up, you know, and I'm like, this dude, this is the Viking dude. Like, I just keep
Yeah, that's
thinking
me.
of you
Yeah.
as the Viking.
Mhm.
You should play off that Viking vibe a little bit. Try to find some kind of Viking slant on something, maybe.
Yeah. I took the stand up university class maybe a year and a half ago, and one of the instructors loved the red beard and then was hell bent on writing 7 minutes of material about Vikings and that. So
Who's that?
I
Rich
have I
Walker?
have a, I have a few written down, but I don't really say them on stage.
Was that Rich Walker? Is the one who
Rich,
came, who
yeah.
who with the Viking stuff? See, me and
Mhm.
him are
Great guy.
always we're always on the same level. Me and Rich. I love
Yeah,
Rich Walker.
great
Rich
guy.
Walker. He's been around so long that he was actually the MC when I used to perform comedy.
Wow.
He brought
Mm.
me up on stage at one of my best shows ever at the brokerage.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's a small, beautiful little Long Island comedy scene we have here, man.
Yeah, I think one of the first open mics I went to, he was running one on Wednesdays at a bar in Massapequa that is no longer there from COVID. But a nice little change. Like I didn't know who he was, but I'm like, this guy's professional, and he ran
Yeah.
like an open mic that seemed like you're at a show. It's not just at some dumpy bar with a bunch of drunks. It was pretty cool. Good spin on it. So great guy. Recommend the class.
Yeah, Rich is and Peter Bales, they're
Yeah.
super great guys, great comedians, seasoned veterans. And Rich Walker, you're not going to get none better, more professional, and does it right. And yeah, I just love the guy. So yeah, he's definitely a good person to know. So you came through the class. Did you have who was in your class? Anybody that's still doing it?
Um, I had a few, about 10 people in the class total. Not really. One guy I'll see at an open mic every now and then, but I think he's
Right,
doing
right.
it as a hobby, and then anybody else I've never seen again. So,
Right. Yeah. Because people take those classes for different reasons.
yeah.
Somebody, might just want to break out of their shell and, get public speaking taken care of. I don't know if you can hear my dog snoring over there. He's snoring away. But other people take it for, they take the classes for, all kinds of different reasons. But I think I used to be on the fence about the comedy school. I used to
Mhm.
think that, oh, I could, I think if you got it, you got it. You don't need school, right? But now I've changed my mind on that, and I think comedy classes are very important. I think it teaches you way more than just how to be funny. It teaches you
Yeah.
how to write for stage time, mic control, how to pace the stage, all those kind of things. I just think it's so important to get instructions from these seasoned vets like Rich and Peter and all of there's a lot of great teachers out there. I think you can learn from osmosis too. But yeah,
that's true. Like I did open mics for about 6 months before I took the class, so I had that. But the class really helps you with the writing. You get an idea actually like structuring a joke rather than I think this is funny. I'll just say it into a microphone. Why aren't they laughing? This is funny. It's like, okay, this is how you write a joke. And it's the class are very like diverse. Like I had a young girl in my class, and then I had like a rather older guy and an older woman. This is your idea, and now you have 3 different perspectives. A guy, I'm in my 30s. A girl who's 20 is going to have a different view on this, and a lady who's 65, different view. So you kind of get a bunch of different angles you wouldn't have thought of when it comes to writing a joke.
Right. Yeah, and that's what's great about it too. And then you could also maybe take the other perspective and work that in to your advantage and fit it in somehow into your premise.
Yeah,
like if
exactly.
two people seeing the same thing differently, it's pretty cool.
Good experience.
So now, now that you've been doing the Long Island comedy scene Facebook page for a couple of weeks now, since the new year, right? What are some of the lessons learned?
Don't burn bridges. A lot of arguing on there, and then side choosing. So I want to be neutral. Switzerland, call an even game, call balls and strikes where they are.
It's going to be hard to stay neutral. I think it's good to be Switzerland, but if something touches you close to home, it might get a little harder. But I think you got a good demeanor, a good even keel vibe about you. Plus, you're a Viking. No one's going to want to mess with you, man.
Exactly.
Pat Dunn, congratulations on taking over the Long Island comedy scene Facebook page and the Facebook group. All the best to you, my friend. You're gonna do wonderful things with it. I could see that. And hope to see you out and about on the scene, my friend.
Definitely, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
You got it, man. Take care, brother. Bye.
All right, man. You too. Take care.